video. So if you clicked on this video, I'm pretty sure you're here to find out what are those clues that you should be looking for when you're trying to figure out if someone is disabled or not. Well, I'm here to tell you. You can't. In case you missed it, you cannot tell if a person is disabled just by looking at them. Disabled people face a lot of harassment because of this misconception that there is some kind of epidemic of people faking disabilities. A common interaction that will occur is when a person will park at a handicapped spot and leave that spot without a mobility device, which then will make a total complete stranger feel entitled to harass that person, whether verbally, confrontationally, or leaving them harassing messages on their vehicle. Time after time after time. Statistically speaking, if you see someone that parks in a handicapped spot and doesn't look disabled to you, more likely than not, they have an invisible illness or invisible disability. For all you know, that person has a feeding tube underneath their t-shirt or prosthetic limbs under their clothes. They could suffer from a heart condition, fragile skin, muscles, bones, etc. Very often I'm told that people who harass people with disabilities have good intentions, that they are just trying to weed out the people who are abusing the system and taking the space that somebody else might really need. However, that does not stop this from being harassment, and there's no way for you to tell who really needs that space just by looking at them. Accusations of faking disability do not stop there. Almost every time, like clockwork, that I get up from my wheelchair to transfer to a different chair, people are stunned. People's eyes grow large. In case you missed it, some wheelchair users can walk. Often not for long periods of time. Often there are variables. Often it might hurt too much to walk, or they might not have enough strength to walk. But some wheelchair users can indeed walk. And just because a wheelchair user stands up from their wheelchair or walks does not mean that they are faking needing their wheelchair. People who use mobility devices run a high risk of harassment whenever they stop using their devices for whatever reason. Whether they put it down or get up from their device, a lot of us are scared because there's a lot of ignorance in the world, and a lot of people are ready to attack and ready to call us fakers just because they don't understand that disability comes in different forms. There are also a couple of really harmful misconceptions about disability, such as people who believe that the phrases, "Oh, you're too young to be disabled," "Oh, you're too pretty to be disabled," "No, you just need to lose some weight," are appropriate things to say to people with disabilities. Something that just happened this past week was that I was in too much pain to take my wheelchair out of the trunk of my car, so I used my cane and walked inside the marketplace and used a power scooter to get around the store instead. The stares that I got from people were so cold, so angry, so unwelcoming. I could tell what they were thinking. They were thinking, what is this young lady doing playing around with a power scooter? How disrespectful. Even the cashier wouldn't look me in the eye and was just so cold with me. Being young does not mean that I'm not disabled. Being pretty does not mean that I'm not disabled. Being overweight doesn't mean that I'm not disabled. But people like to judge by appearances, and so people assume when I'm using a power scooter that I'm being lazy, that I'm playing around, instead of assuming that I'm really disabled and really do need the power scooter. And this is not an isolated incident. None of these are. The handicap permit stories, the people staring at me when I stand up from my wheelchair, or the hostility I get when I'm using a power scooter in a marketplace. They don't just happen to me. They happen to so many disabled folk. And that's just the surface of it. These situations can escalate to verbal assault, to physical assault. It's a dangerous climate when people decide that they want to be witch hunters and figure out if someone is really disabled or not, instead of just letting it be. If you truly want to be an ally to people with disabilities, please be aware of these things. And please make this a topic on your table. Please protect people with disabilities from this type of harassment. And if someone seriously wants to see if you stole a decal, an officer can very easily check to see if your identification matches the decal number. That's all there is to it. Alright, y'all, thank you for listening. I will see you guys tomorrow, probably. Okay, bye.